What's happening, everyone? Today is Monday, isn't it? I think it is. Oh, how's everyone doing? This is my second stream. I jumped on with Furu Finance earlier to give some non-hopium, 15 minutes of non-hopium on Furu earlier. Thought that was pretty good. If you want to hear about that and why I think that we are close but not imminent. So, but however, we are pretty close because I'm doing streams about preparing for mainnet, right? I wouldn't be preparing for it if I didn't believe it myself. So that's what's happening right now. I got the validator AMA right now, and then at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern, I got Axis and Juyung the Hexagon coming on, and that should be bananas. Bananas question mark? It's always a good one with Axis, and Juyung's pretty awesome too. So those two should be a good combination. Let's say hi to the chat before we get into it. PMS squared, interesting name. Very interested in the topic. Thank you, RHMax, for finding this information. Of course. I'm here to help the community and win. So those are kind of my two things: winning and helping the community. Modiginate, one of those. What's up, Art? What's up, RHMax? What's happening, man? Good to see people here. Chat, let's get pumping, because I don't go live for no reason. I got some interesting stuff to share. And we're going to talk about, especially if you're a validator, if you're just waiting on PulseChain, there'll be some cool stuff too. But if you're a validator, boom, UFOs landed. You'll get some information as well. So let me share the screen. I'll check on Richard's Twitter, see if he said anything else too, but I haven't seen a whole lot. So validators preparing for mainnet. I posted this last night as I was going through my checklist. Literally yesterday, I was like, I need to prepare myself. I need to go through and write some stuff down and make sure I know exactly what to do. And it's a win-win. If I know what to do and I know what I'm doing, then I can share it with you all. So it's this whole like healthy, positive feedback loop I get of, hey, I can do something that helps me and helps everyone else as well. So I'll go through this. So this is the basics. And I've already started preparing this morning. I started doing the, I'm using the cloud. I'm using AWS. So I've got my EC2 instance, and I have information on how to do all that stuff if you're interested. It's on the wiki. It's on the repo. I have a Google Doc that goes through exactly how to do all that as well. I don't know if you put the Google Doc, put that on the wiki. I feel like some things are better as separate docs and just linking them, because I don't want the wiki to become 100 pages long either. Anyways, if you got hardware, you're at home, I would suggest you do a clean server. If you have testnet running and you want to run it till the very end, you can. If you want to wipe the machine and prepare for mainnet, that's fine too. We don't know when it's going to launch, so I can't make that decision for you. But if you got another server that you want to use for mainnet, I would make sure it's a clean image and it's updated and all that good stuff. That's what I was doing earlier today. And then for the setup script, so org/PulseChain Validator. So for the setup script itself, as I talked about yesterday, I will be updating it. Basically, I think it's just going to be like the geth chain is probably going to be PulseChain or PulseChain-mainnet, I imagine, for these two deals. Just changing some values around to talk to the clients and make sure they set up correctly. I think these will be the same. And then all this stuff will move to -testnet or some other repo. Just thinking out loud. And then this will probably be checkpoint.pulsechain.com, I imagine, or checkpoint.mainnet.pulsechain.com. Not sure what the devs are going to do yet. Up on launch, that's why we got to figure out the information. I'll be on Telegram definitely that day. When it launches, I'll be on Twitter trying to check for this stuff too, but I'll be in Telegram in the Pulse Dev and Gamma's channel, making sure, trying to get access to the latest information for that. And besides that, the process is the same. None of the steps should change. It's just changing around. Instead of doing testnet, we do mainnet. So I will update that as quickly as I can because I want to get the script running. I don't think it'll take too long. I'm going to update the script. I'm going to test it on my mainnet server. If everything runs correctly, I'll update the repo. We'll be good to go. And I will definitely tweet about that and make sure everyone knows that stuff's ready to go. Hopefully, I'm hoping to do all this stuff within the first few hours of launch. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be awake during launch. It could be, a few hours on that. So I don't know if I'm going to be first, but it's not a big deal anyways. So once you get the blockchain syncing, then you have time to do other stuff, right? So unless you want to get penalized and slashed and stuff, you should not activate your validator until it's synced and ready to validate. General rule of thumb, right? So that means you have plenty of time. If anyone knows a shortcut for getting the blockchain synced, I haven't found one yet from mainnet. So let me know if you have some shortcut. I'm all ears. I've been asking around. Nobody's given me anything yet. So it could still take, 24 or 36 hours to get synced. And in that meantime, you have time to get, generate your keys on a secure server. We went over all that stuff before. Make sure you have the wallet that you're going to do the withdrawal for. Very, very, very important. You get that correct. If you don't, you could lose all your money. And then your fee recipient, that one's changeable. So it's not a super big deal. You get that correct. But of course, if there's extra fees people are paying, you want to go to the wallet you own. So be careful setting this. Make sure it's going to a wallet you own. Be extremely careful setting this because this is where your big money is going to be. This is going to be your 32 million pulse per validator. That when you hit withdrawal and you exit, you're able to get that back. It's going to go to that address. And I guess the partial withdrawal stuff would go to that address too. Yeah, that makes sense. As far as I can tell, I haven't messed with partial withdrawals yet because there's not a big point. I've just been doing the full withdrawals and making sure that process, which of course is on a wiki. And then, so between you getting your blockchain syncing, generate validator keys, be very careful with the withdrawal address, fee recipient, get all that stuff sorted out. You can do it now, right? You can, if you want to do it now in preparation, you totally can, but you'll have time to do it between the sync and because you can't, between making the deposit, you need to wait for it synced anyways, unless you want to risk getting penalized. So you have time and then make your deposit. Once everything's synced, good to go. Once your validator is set up correctly, and set up correctly means you are synced, means you are able to operate on the blockchain and be a part of the validator pool that is producing these blocks and attestations and making the network run. Then you can make your deposit. Now you'll still need to wait to get activated there. So that'll be another, I don't know, hopefully within the day, hopefully within a day. So it could be 24 hours. Usually I say like 18 hours or so. So the whole process could take 2 or 3 days. So be prepared for that. It's a 2 or 3 day process once you hit go. So if anyone knows how to make this faster, let me know. But as far as I know, that's the best I can see happening unless you got a super fast, beefy server. I guess if your server is really beefy and your bandwidth is really beefy, it can happen faster. But from all the testing I've done and all the syncing and all the times I've set it up, it takes at least a couple days for this whole process from start to finish. And then you'll be synced and ready to go, ready to start earning fees and all that kind of good stuff. And the one other thing I mentioned on there too, if you want to do, I've been testing, actually committed the snapshot script, which I will be using on mainnet. I've tested it on, well, actually I'm almost fully tested it on testnet. And essentially just copies over, compresses your blockchain data, and then gives you these, and then you can copy them to another server, for example, to give yourself like a bootstrap. In theory, should work fine. Again, I got to fully test it end to end, but it takes time because you got to compress and uncompress, and it can take a day and lots of gigabytes and all that stuff. So it's been taking a while to test it, but in theory, all that should work fine. And that's something I would use on mainnet if I want to take a snapshot. Well, so I'll be taking a snapshot using AWS. So I'll take a snapshot of the entire hard disk. And what happens is I'll take one regularly. I mean, that's a plan you could have, for example. You could take one regularly, either do a backup through the backup instructions I have on the wiki, the references and stuff at home with rsync and otherwise, or with AWS, you can do a snapshot of the disk itself. And then if you have these snapshots, if something happens, you need to move servers, or, something happens security wise and it gets compromised and you want to go back to a period in history where it wasn't compromised, if you can figure that part out. There's a few different scenarios you would use it in. Then you could take this would be useful. So snapshot of the hard disk is different than this. This is actually taking a snapshot of the blockchain data. When I say snapshot for AWS and cloud servers, I'm saying take a snapshot of the entire disk, which is more than the blockchain data too. But this would be helpful if you don't want to take an entire image of the disk, or you can't, or whatever, and you just want the blockchain data to go set up multiple servers or otherwise do something with. So that's what you could use that for. So that's the preparation, kind of like the quick guide. This is extrapolated from my plan. And the best thing I can think of to get going. Again, if anyone has any feedback or questions, let me know. But this is what I can think of. Maybe it'll evolve a little bit, but that's best I can think of right now. And again, I'll just set it on the backups, the backup side. Backups right here. And this is tell you how to do snapshots in the cloud, like literally step by step. And these are references of how to do them at home with different ways of automating and rsync and cron tab and all that fun Linux stuff. So give me a moment and we'll get into questions and comments and glorious, glorious praise of the PulseChain devs for not launching when we want it to launch, but launching when it's ready to launch, right? That's what we're celebrating. That's what we've been celebrating the last few days or so. 1 sec. All right. Did I miss the Chad? What's happening, Chad? I saw you a minute ago. I was just like, I got to keep going with my talky talk. I'm here once again to remind the Hex community that the Swans of House Donner has entered to chat. Well, Chad, if you didn't say that, no one would know. And it's very important that we know the Chad of Chads, of Donners of the Hex community is here. So definitely appreciate that. Glad you could take time out of your sauna and sweaty experience you have being the man in general. The man of man, the man of men, the Chad of Chids with an E. Is that plural Chads with an E? Is that how you do that? Jordan A, thanks for being smart pleb and giving us free education. Appreciate that. Better than being a poor pleb. You can be a broke pleb, but if you're a poor pleb, I don't know. This is like a rich dad, poor dad joke, I guess. Poor is forever. Broke is just temporary, right? There's also PP coin. Will PP coin insert in crypto to the next bull market? And did they know they're getting their copy on PulseChain? Yeah. Sigmund B says, what do you know about rocket pool force synergy? Not a lot, actually. I don't know anything about that other than hopefully it happens sometimes. I wish I did. I'm very excited to have Alex back on the show sometime whenever he wants to. I'm sure he'll probably start doing the rounds once he releases a new product. And I pray that he will come back and talk to me because that guy is awesome. And it's always a treat getting to talk to people of his stature and just the amount of stuff he does for the community. We can't thank him enough, seriously. So those people I want to celebrate. Those people I want to lift up and let them know that, never want them to be sad, right? I want them to be like, never have a reason to not never have a reason for stopping until they're ready to stop and buy that island or whatever. But until then, yeah, let's celebrate people who are doing great things. Ben Appleby says, thoughts on launch timeframes. So close, Ben, so close. I'm literally doing a stream set called How I'm Preparing for Mainnet right now. So if you missed on Furu Finance earlier, again, I spent about 15 minutes on there saying why I don't think it's imminent, because to me, imminent means like hours or a day or so. And I haven't seen any infrastructure moves, and I've been watching them multiple times per day. I've been monitoring. Is there new subdomains? Is there new DNS entries? Is there new certificates? Sort of in that line of indicators, technical indicators. Been watching liquidity. Yeah, it's been going down. Maybe Axis will have some more information on that soon too, but I haven't seen the boom. I haven't seen the thing that makes me go like, okay, maybe I'm staying up tonight. Probably wouldn't do it anyways because it's not a big deal. I would cancel plans though. I will be canceling plans the day that it launches. I'm 100% certain on that. Probably a couple days afterwards. Probably the whole week because the bridge, and I'm going to be super plugged in. So I'm plugged in right now. I've been doing 2 streams a day. Today will be the 3rd day in a row I'm doing 2 streams per day. I'm pretty plugged in right now, but I still live a normal life otherwise. Family, friends. I like to work outside. I exercise on a low-calorie diet right now because Miami bod, trying to get in shape. I gained a little bit of weight that shouldn't be there because I've just been like, let's just eat whatever I want and it'll be fine. But that's not how you maintain a healthy body and spirit. It feels cleansing sometimes, right? So, you asked about launch time frame. A week, maybe less, maybe a little bit more. I think mid-May is in play. Party time. What's up, FOMophobic? Can I not validate by joining a pool? Yes, you can. If you are a validator, you make your deposit, put your skin in the game, and you join the pool of validators in that sense. So you can. Archipelago, what's happening? Good afternoon to you as well. Paul says, I set up my server last night using your script. I got to the point where it said I have to set up my wallet on a different device, which I didn't have. So I'm trying to figure that out. I can help you with that, Paul. Let me help you with that. So on the script here, maybe I should make this more noticeable. In the script, should I say, go to the wiki that says after running the script for more elaboration on the steps on what to do. I feel like people just miss this, and I'm not saying it's your fault. Like, I think I'm like, is it my fault? Did I not? Is there a better way to direct people to the section of the wiki that says after running the script? Maybe I can bold it at the top or something. It says like, it's just not a bad idea. Yeah, I'll do that. Make myself a note, add to the top of the README in bold. Once you're finished running setup script, go to the after running script section. The link, boom, good feedback, sir, good feedback. So let's go to that section. After running the script, again, this does most of everything, 85, 90%. And then afterwards, all you need to do is 2 steps. So step 1 would be on a secure machine that is not your validator server. You can read all about that. And again, watch more AMAs if you want me to go more deep in that, or hear me go. I've already talked about it a few times. On a different machine, use the deposit client tool. This is run these commands and generate your keys. Be extremely careful. I'm just going to call this out. Extremely careful with this one. make sure your withdrawal address, you know what that is. Make sure you know what it is. If you don't, and you don't have access to this, or you lose access, or it gets hacked, or whatever, you may lose your funds. You do not want to lose your funds. So that's the only thing I want to call out, is be extremely careful and understand what this is. So you generate your validator keys, then you take your validator keys. So step 1, generate them. Step 2, I guess, okay, 3 steps. Here we go. Step 1, generate them. Step 2, get them on your validator machine after you've generated them. So copy them on somehow. And that could be, there's different ways to do it. I have like a couple tricks here to do it. If you just want to use zip them and base64, it's a trick. You can do SCP to copy them over the network if they're on the same local network. You can use USB if it's like if you have physical hardware. So you take USB from the machine you generated them on, put them on the drive, and then take them over to your server and put them on there. And you can use if you use in the cloud, you can spin up a ephemeral instance, which probably shouldn't do for mainnet. It's not the mode on mainnet. You want to maybe have a actual physically secure device. Unless, I don't know. I mean, if you ask me, like, I don't know, figure out a way to put them on a machine that you're comfortable with generating them and you don't think would steal them. Because those are your seed words. Those are your money. Your seed words are your money. Seed words equal money. So step 2, get them on the machine and import them. And here's all the commands to do that. And then step 3, make your deposit. So you go to Launchpad or whatever Launchpad will be on mainnet, and you make your deposit. So 3 steps. You got to do 3 steps after you run the script. Let me know if that makes sense. I'll scroll down and see if there's any questions on that. Well, no, set up on my Linux machine at home, so I don't have to spin up a separate device in your tutorial. Well, there's plenty of ways to do that. So again, it depends on how secure you're going for. It could be another laptop. You could use a live CD. So if you buy or download an ISO and you have something that uses CDs or USB, whatever, then you can use a live CD. And again, I go over this in the script or in the wiki. Some of the stuff you just need to get on YouTube. Like, I don't fully explain every single step on some of these things. So if you're like, I want to copy it over the network, over your local network, then you should Google for how to use SCP. And I have a little bit in here too, but if you want to like really understand, if you just don't get it, Google YouTube for how to use these commands to do stuff like that. If you want to use the USB stick, pretty self-explanatory. Oh, that's for copying it, but actually generating it, okay. So you can spin up a VM on AWS, and I guess I don't have a lot of data on. Yeah, I can add a note for that too. Okay. Yeah. Good feedback too. Section. Ways to generate your, how do you say that? Environments for key generation. There we go. You have a live CD that you boot and use, everything's loaded in memory. Everything's ephemeral. And then you have spin up a free tier cloud image. And you have parts of the wiki while I'm talking. And what else? Use a use another machine with a clean install. I mean, it could be Mac. It could actually, yeah, let's take Linux on this stuff. Clean install of Ubuntu Linux, not connected to the internet, only to download staking client, or use a USB stick to transfer client over to it. What else? Those are the three main ones. Use a live CD, spin up a free tier cloud image, again, less secure because you don't own it, but you can destroy it right afterwards. You know, there's limited use there. And then you just use another machine, use another laptop, like whatever, install Linux on some laptop you got laying around. Or oh yeah, virtual machine, anything about that. Virtual machine with clean install and delete it afterwards. There you go, 4 options. Live CD, spin up a free tier cloud image, use another machine, spare laptop, device, or a virtual machine. Good stuff. I'll add that to the wiki. What if you don't have another machine? Well, you need to get one, or use a cloud image, or use a virtual machine. If you don't have a physical hardware, you can use a virtual machine. Again, Google for how to use virtual machine on the computer. But with that too, you kind of need a clean piece of hardware, because the ideal is not to generate your keys where if your devices are compromised, then they can't get access to it. So virtual machine is not the best idea either. Yeah, you really just need a separate piece of hardware for being a validator. Ideally, you have a clean piece of hardware that you just use for that. And then you have your validator server if you're doing this at home. Yeah, look, good. You're already familiar with Linux. Awesome. Yeah, I would say the most secure way to do it is just having a separate device, install Linux on it, and just generate your keys on there, and then format it again after you securely take care of your seed words. Or live CD. Yeah, I think live CD or another hardware. So you can boot. Okay, there you go. This might be a solution for you, Paul. You can boot. You can just boot your server to the live CD or the live USB or whatever. Keys, store them securely, and then use your server as normal, because you just need to generate them one time and then everything's gone. So that's probably the easiest way I can think of doing it without getting other hardware. All right, scroll up. Good question, Paul. I always like questions that make me think, oh, I've already talked about that, or I've already added that. Oh, actually, I don't have enough information in the wiki about that. So you have been very useful for that. Appreciate it. And hopefully, obviously, I helped you as well explain that. Segment, have you tried collecting LP fees gained from providing liquidity? So far, only collected INC. Don't understand where to collect fees. Interesting question. So the fees should be, do you get them? Actually, I don't know. So you collect the fees. Okay, so you provide the liquidity, you get the PLP, and then you basically stake the PLP, you farm it to get the INC, and then you see how much INC you've got. How are the fees paid? Very interesting. I think maybe if you have to remove it on the INC part, and then you'll see, and then once you take everything back, it'll give you more than what you had. Or do the fees just go to your wallet automatically? I don't think they go automatically. Somehow you have to claim them. Interesting. I don't know. That's a great question. Yeah, I would like to ask someone else who has done that, because I've actually not collected the fees. I've only earned the INC, but I haven't collected the fees directly. I'm sure there's a simple answer for it. I just don't know. believe Alex mentioned ICOSA may be insurance token. Yeah, no, that he did say that. Yeah, so he was kicking around the idea that ICOSA could be, part of the Rocket Pool deal. And there's some back and forth and discussion stuff that I saw as well on Telegram, and yeah, at least on Telegram, probably on that Twitter thread too. So, God, ICOSA is so awesome. I don't know when I'm ever going to pull ICOSA from my pool, my stake. I don't. It's too good. It's too good. It's like one of those and the Wattses. It's like I don't know when I'm going to get rid of those. Not anytime soon. Our pool's a zero risk strategy. Well, nothing is zero risk, but I get what you're saying. You have impermanent loss. So how do you avoid a permanent loss? If you lock both sides of the pair, then at least for you, maybe you're avoiding a permanent loss, or you're okay with the impermanent loss. And it depends on your time horizon, 2 years versus 6 months. If you think PulseX is going to do well in the long term, you're okay getting more of that on that side. There's a bunch of different stuff. But in general, if you trust the contract, we know PulseX is solid, then you're earning fees. It's great. So it's definitely a less risky strategy than a lot of them. Any thoughts on PulseC? I don't know what that is, but that's kind of a cool name, actually. PulseC. PulseC. I don't know what that is. Maybe that like OpenSea for PulseChain, maybe. I don't know. Both my validator, by the way, welcome, Andreas. Both my validator only get scheduled blocks few and all of missed attestations going fine. I think that's, again, that could be your hardware, it could be your bandwidth. I don't know. I've asked this question to Gamma. I don't think I get a good answer yet that I know of. And Gamma, if you're watching, or feel free to let me know. But somebody asked the question of the day, what determines which blocks you're going to be involved in, and your attestations and stuff like that? I don't have a good answer. If you're running at 100% as far as uptime and stuff goes, then I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that. I will be right back. All right, we are back. I have to wrap this up in about 10 minutes or so. Okay, UFO, can you make a boot CD for a server that runs a script? Startups have been fully tested without bugs. Mainnet for all in charge. Interesting. That sounds like a lot of work. Yeah, I don't know what the ROI. It's actually a lot of work to do a boot CD and stuff. And I'm not even running one at home, so I don't even have anything to test it right now. I'm running stuff in the cloud, so hard to test that right now. And the ROI would be, why? I would argue that you could just, set up the server, install Ubuntu, install whatever you want. You could make a whole operating system. You could make a validator OS. You could totally do that, and maybe there will, especially if you're doing embedded devices. Maybe that'll be something that's coming out from Alex and stuff. But I'm not ruling it out, making a validator OS or something. That sounds like, I'm definitely capable of doing it. It's just right now, once you set up the server, if you can install Linux, after that, you just got to run the scripts and then do the manual stuff. So I'm not sure the ROI is there, but interesting idea. I hadn't thought about a validator OS. Pulse Linux. It's totally could be a thing. Our single side PulseX pool, zero risk. Trying to think of the risk for them. Yeah, single side is pretty good because you're just earning the token too. I guess it's like the opportunity cost. You could maybe factor that in. And the brain power, like nobody, or the mind share. So you got to think about this: airdrops, farming new tokens and stuff like that as a way of distribution. These are the carrot. This is a great distribution method for people, but you got to, like, do you want to be involved in that project? Do you want to start spending time on it? Every amount of brain power you spend on some new coin or some airdrop takes away from the brain power. It's like splitting buy pressure. I had this conversation a million times on the channel. It's a real thing. So for me, I just pick my trade-offs. I'm okay having, utility coins, positive feedback loops, stuff like that. But if you're going for the meme coins, you're going for stuff that's just kind of like, you have no idea if it's going to work or not. You're taking away brain power, and money. You could be buying Hex, could be buying other stuff that's proven and all that stuff with it too. Maybe healthier games. So you got to factor that in. I think it's a very underrated way. All right. Any other validator questions? Otherwise, I'm going to call this one a success. I will call it a success because you guys are cool. Had some good questions today. Yeah, sometimes I get stumped. I don't know. I do not know everything. I try to talk to enough people to give you the best information I can, but I do not know everything. And sometimes I get questions that I don't know, and I'm like, oh, I should go figure that out. That is interesting and important. Some of them are more important than others, obviously, but good question, Sigmund. Appreciate it. Anything else? Otherwise, again, if you want to go be a validator, and that's what you do after running the script. Wiki is hopping. Got 14 stars, 5 forks. Cool. Cool. 5 watching. Got some cool contributors here. Appreciate you all. 100% shell scripts. Yep, pretty much. And let's see, one more. Not clear to me. Earned fees validator. We actually validate a block. So you're getting a percentage of a pool when you participate in validating blocks, attestations, like all that stuff. So when you are contributing, when you do something, you're sharing in the fees. Think about it like that, as far as my understanding. Anyways, thank you all very much. Thank you, Sigmund. Appreciate it. I'll be back in about 3.5 hours with Axis and Juyung. So feel free to come back. It should be a blast. And see you all in a bit. Scivive 5555, everyone.